for a free inspection.
Local author John Theo has done it again. He's brought history back to life in his latest book, The Rucksack Kids. And the great thing about the story is it's also a mini lesson for children too. And to make sure his writing is speaking well to his audience, his 10-year-old daughter helped him edit it. To tell us more, I'm joined by author John Theo and his daughter, Leah, today.
Okay, this book is a young adult or middle grade mystery. It's a throwback to books I read growing up and that were read to me growing up to like the 1930s, like Boxcar Children, Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys, that whole classic era of mystery books. I wanted to pay homage to that whole era of timeless books that were written in that style and that pace and that craft and those authors. And takes place in New Hampshire, follows a small family in New Hampshire that I loosely based on my family. I used it as a tool kind of to get my kids interested in the writing process. And it worked, and I have my daughter involved in the process. It takes place in New Hampshire, so they solve local mysteries. On the 4th of July, a historical letter from George Washington to one of his generals goes missing from the town museum, and the kids just spend the week of 4th of July trying to find out who stole the letter, what was involved with it, and try to bring the person who stole it to justice and bring the letter back to the museum. And so a whole slew of adventures ensue, and that's basically the gist of the story. But there's some history lessons in there as well about the historical culper ring and spy network that George Washington employed in the Revolutionary War. So there's definitely some history lessons in there as well in the back of the book in the appendix. It's a clean, family-friendly adventure.
So, Leah, let's talk about your work within this. You worked as an editor and kind of helped Dad understand what it's like to read from your point of view. What did you think about the story?
I thought it was really cool, and it kind of relates to the Boxcar Children, Nancy Drew, and I can't wait to work on the next couple of books with him. I edited and I pointed out some words that didn't make sense to me, and we changed some of them, and I helped to maybe write a little bit here and there.
Yeah. And I thought she was just going to give me some ideas on scenes and scenarios and just tell me if some words didn't work. But my wife's a lawyer, and she has her mother's brain. And at the end of the process, she was line editing, telling me where I missed commas, apostrophes, and doing spell check and all sorts of stuff for me. So she was much more involved than I ever expected. And this was a real partnership. I mean, I did the rough draft, and she said, no, this didn't work. This didn't work. I think this, she was really involved, much more involved than I initially thought.
That is awesome. And she spoke about the idea of another book. Tell us what's coming in the future.
In the future, the kid's going to go to Cape Ann with their parents, and it's going to lead on to a pirate treasure hunt with them.
At the seashore. Cape Ann's in Massachusetts, so the next book will be a seaside adventure involving historical pirate and pirate treasure.
That is super cool. And when you were writing this book, did you already have ideas of what you wanted to put in the next book?
Kind of,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We put the first chapter of the next book at the end of this book, so as like a little teaser. So we have the next book about 90% done.
Wow. And Leah, why should kids read this book?
I think it'd be a good history lesson for them because there's lots of history involved. Give them a better perspective of the colonial times in America, and it's just a good book to read.
Awesome. And what age groups is this good for, John? And where can folks find this? And you're a local author as well.
I'd probably say 7 to 12, but I mean, I'm an adult. I still love reading young adult fiction, so I'd probably say 7 to 12-year-olds, maybe 7 to 13-year-olds. They can find them on Amazon.com. It's in print and ebook, and or JohnTheo.com, where all my books are sold.
As we kick off Black History Month, the University of Lynchburg is celebrating Black life, Black art, and Black culture. Dr. Ghislaine Lewis tells us more about these